Happy New Year! 2022. It's here. It started. As I'm recording this, it is the 6th. 6th? Yeah, it's the 6th of January today. Um, uh, I hope we're all rested after the prolonged Christmas slash uh, New Year's sort of holiday, and we're all raring to go for a new year. So, this video, we're going to take a quick look at the work produced last year, and we're going to talk about the work that we're going to be producing this year. Already, we have some projects starting up already. I was commissioned sort of early December for some book work, so illustration work for a book. I think it's looking like I'm going to be commissioned again by the same publisher team for another. It looks like a new book, so this could be interesting. So this could impact on what gets made, but we'll see. Look, I'm waffling. Let's just cut to a production chart, shall we? Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so this is my production chart um, for 2021. So just so you can understand how it works, every page is a line. Um, we tend to have a description of the actual project. So in this case, it's Space Crash issue 2. We have all the pages and their status. So we thumbnail the page, we do rough pencils, we do type pencils, we ink it, we colour it, put text and borders on. And at this point, it's a finished page. But if no one's looking at it, we can't really class it as published. And this is important for later. So let's talk through the projects that I did last year. So did Space Crash issue 2. This is a Max Kurtz story called Early Days, 8-page story. It's not finished, so it doesn't count in the published section. Okay. Same here as a 8-page sort of slasher submission, kind of like what would it be? Like Friday the 13th sort of story. We did a 12-page Florida man story, so that's just craziness that happens. Some of the crazy things that happen in the state of Florida. This is actually based on a real story about a guy who threw an alligator through a drive-through window. It's done. It's delayed. It was submitted in September. I don't think the Kickstarter's actually started on it yet, so remains to be seen what the status of play of that is. This one is finished though. This was a Peter Pan story. This is something I did for an arts thing, which is unfinished because the project was unfinished. This is a 4-page story that was rejected, a 4-page story that was rejected, a 10-page story in the cover for a book that was ultimately rejected, so obviously not published. Here's a 4-page story I did. This was written by Aaron Rackley, who he runs buysmallpress.com, and he also does Kickstarter fulfillment. So if you have a Kickstarter, you need it fulfilling, he's a guy to talk to. Stupid Kids Anthology is stories of kids being silly. It was submitted in November, but hasn't been published, so it doesn't count as being published. Legend of the Hummingbird, 10-page story. That was a pay gig. I lettered that, and that was submitted, and it's gone off, and I believe it's gone to print. And then we've got some miscellaneous ones. So did a an 8-page circumference done. That's part of the DUI anthology. So that's a unique circumference story that you won't see anywhere for a while. Big Day was a 2-page comic story. I did the art, someone else did the lettering, so it's published. This is a 4-page story that I wrote, which is yet to be published. mini comic, and oh, actually, there's two. These are two mini comics. This one was done just before Christmas, so Deck the Halls. That's your Christmas mini comic. So if you signed up for the Christmas mailing list, you'd have got that. A couple of one-page comics here, 1, 2, 3, and one's not finished, and then the Space Crash issue 3. So let's check our total, shall we? So in the year, I made 170 pages worth of comics. That's not published. That's all these little bits here and there. Like these bits and these bits all added together. So that's an aggregate sort of total. Actually published 110 pages in the year, which means I'm making roughly about 10 pages in a month, which is roughly a tenth of a page a week. That doesn't seem right, but I'll go with that. So that's what we've got at the moment. Let's take a second and let's look at what we're doing for this year, not next year, because this is now. Let's look at what we've got this year. Well, this year we've got Space Crash issue 4. There's going to be another 40 pages of that crazy space business. This is the Max and Kurt story. It needs colouring and lettering, so then this can be done and counted as published. This Slasher anthology just needs to be published. This one I suspect will never be finished, but it is what it is. This one was rejected. Oh no, sorry, it was sent. Yes, it was sent, but it hasn't been published. It's been submitted to the Little Fear Heroes anthology that was sent off in April. I need to hear back on that, because if that doesn't get, if this anthology has been cancelled, then I'll reuse that for something else. Again, we need to hear back on the publisher status of Stupid Kids, and here we've got this 4-page story that I wrote, and then we've got Space Crash issue 5, 40 pages, and then on top of that I've got a commission for at least 10 pages I think is coming through. I'm waiting to hear back from the publishers. I would expect to hear from them very soon, but I'll probably end up chasing that off. So at the moment we've got 37 pages roughly of content to sort of track, but we haven't actually produced anything yet. We haven't published anything yet, so let's get. I suppose we need to make a start. Let's go back to the studio.
Right, so that was some number crunching, which I suppose brings us on to the next part of this video, which is what are my New Year's resolutions. So I don't like using the word resolutions. Well, I don't like using the word New Year's resolutions. It feels sort of like it's set up for failure. You say, "Oh, my New Year's resolution is I'm going to the gym. I'm going to get jacked," and you go to the gym twice in January, and then that's it for the rest of the year. And I think when you start setting it up as a New Year's resolution, you're almost setting yourself up to fail. So instead, I'm looking at themes and things I want to try. Not necessarily all year, but if the opportunity arises, I'm going to try and grab it. And so things I'm looking to sort of try and sort of accomplish or at least attempt this year is I'd like to do more drawing that is anatomically more like a superhero. I do a lot of cartoony, comic-y type stuff, and that's great, and I love doing it. But just to make things more interesting, I'd like to do a book about a superhero, like cape, the whole thing. Excuse me. Just to keep things interesting, I'd like to do a book about a superhero. I think it could be interesting. I think it could be fun. And I think it'd be interesting to sort of examine certain aspects of superhero culture, whatever that means. I'd like to look at backgrounds more. I'm into. There's two camps. I've got two schools of thought on this, and they never seem to. There never seems to be a direct winner. But I love a background that's got some detail that you know has a place. You know, like a mad scientist laboratory, or the moon, or a car park, or you know, someone's living room. And I think you need to have a background on scene so you know where you are. It helps the establishing shot. What I find strange is I see a lot of other comic creators sort of talking about, oh, you've got to have a background on every panel, and it's got to be uber detailed. And I was sort of scratching my head at this because what you have then is a really detailed background with a really great detailed foreground, and you're trying to guide someone's eye from A to B to C to D, and they get to this panel, and it's like, well, where do I go in the panel? Because you've got everything is the same level of detail. Everything is vying for the attention of the eyeballs. So how do you get them to look at, say, the eyes of the character? How do you get them to even notice where the speech bubble is? There's a risk, I think, if your backgrounds are too detailed, that they pull focus from the foreground, and that's a sort of artistic sort of argument. But I'd like to still, having said all that, I would still like to examine um, making backgrounds or environments. Let's put it that way. So, anatomy, backgrounds. What else would I like to do? Um, I've got an idea for a one and done comic, which probably would come in at probably about, let's say, 25, 26 pages. Probably, we've probably end up being 28 pages because it's divisible. But essentially, it's a 28-page comic with a series of stories all based on the same theme. I've got 9 story ideas which I need to develop. So obviously, in each writing, and this is more of a end of year sort of project. So that's something to look into. I've also got, of course, 2 issues of Space Crash. They have to get done. This is like non-negotiable. This is the year that Space Crash flies off into the sunset. Its story told, and it's going to be interesting. Issue 4 is written. Issue 4 just needs to start on production. There's a few pages I need to redraft, but essentially I can start penciling this like tomorrow, which I probably will do. Issue 5 is basically plotted but not really written, and it's not really plotted at this point. It's more like this happens and this happens and this happens. That's the book. But, well, I need to sort of expand this bit and expand that bit, and so we're looking into that. At some point, I would like to do a collaboration with another comics art YouTube channel. I put some feelers out last year to a couple of YouTube channels, but didn't really go anywhere. This year, who knows? It might be different. We'll see. I mean, maybe other studios, other YouTube channels are free now. Maybe they want to do some stuff, so we'll do some stuff. I've got some commissions I've got to do, so I'm going to do the commissions. I've got a comic story, which I suspect is probably going to be coming in about 10 pages. I'm not sure. Now that's scheduled to be done by March, but we haven't even had a script yet. It's early days in January, admittedly, but this could be one of these things where suddenly everything gets chucked on the back burner because the commission job takes precedent. We're just going to have to see. We're going to have to see how that one pans out. Is there anything else? Is there anything else? No, I think that's it. I think that's it now. I think that's our list of goals. I mean, there they are. Wonderful. So yeah, we'll see how we get on this year. It's shaping up to be a big year. At least 80 pages of comics to do. More. It's probably going to be pushing more like 130 conservatively at this point. Let's see how we do. and we're going to be moving artistically, we're moving in some interesting new directions. So it's going to be very interesting to see. This is a journey, and you guys are along for the journey, and that's great. I hope you continue to find this channel interesting, fun, entertaining, or whatever you find it is. I hope you continue to enjoy visiting. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next video. All right, you guys take care. All right, bye now.